So I mean, Arsenal has always really been kind of a shit show. It's very
Guarantee that you're gonna win this game.
idiotic. Bandites, stop promoting yourself in my video. It's always been. Since I started playing the goddamn thing, I've always noticed how idiotically unbalanced and completely ridiculous it is. It's even worse lately. Now, I'm not saying that the hit rate has gotten any worse after the latest update. However, there have been additions and re-additions since the latest update that kind of make the game an unplayable piece of shit again. When it comes to Arsenal, Raw devs bring a whole new meaning to the word idiotic. The weapon skins, for example. They are not done right on most of the guns. Some of the guns look really good. Most of the guns don't work. The weapon skins are the skin zones are very bad. They're poorly made, they're poorly done. Hell, on the present, it just looks completely atrocious because it literally just, you'll see. If we get it this video, I'll make sure to include it. You'll see how bad it is. There's problem number one. That boom, immediately, straight, the game is demonstrating its problems. I have a bow, okay? This is a projectile weapon. Everything else is hit scan. Now, what is hit scan? Hit scan means that when you press the trigger, that bullet goes where the crosshair is pointed instantaneously. It hits, you do damage immediately. There is no delay. Weapons like this, weapons like the bow, are projectile weapons. They do not hit immediately. You actually have to wait for the round to hit the person and go through the person for the hit rate to understand that it is hit. However, you can't really mix the two together, especially if you use things like bows. Because at that point, the hit scan weapons are going to be such a huge advantage in the player base and in the game that it makes it completely impossible and, well, basically impossible and pretty idiotic to even try once you get a projectile weapon, because there's nothing that you can really do. The dominating kills are so easy to get because all you have to do is get lucky and get two good weapons in a row and get a kill on the same person twice. It's very, very easy, and if you get stuck with a projectile weapon and there's somebody that's tryharding in the lobby that has gotten lucky and not gotten it yet, or gotten past it, you are going to get dominated 6 ways to Sunday by them. Because they are able to hit you instantly and you simply can't. I've had matches where I'm dominating rank 300s because they keep getting projectile weapons, or it was their first match of the day, and they keep getting unlucky. And that's not how a dominating system like this should be done. It just isn't. It's never how I would do it. As a matter of fact, I would probably not even include one at this point, because it would be pretty hard to factor in your gun, their gun, how many times you've actually killed them, how many times it's been a backstab or anything, and, you know, factor all that in. It would be difficult. Alright, so I want to do gun rotation. Wow, look at that. A landslide vote to Standard over gun rotation and Concussion Mania. Standard is the worst game mode in the game, and it's the main reason why this is considered what the video title says, the worst game, or the worst FPS game on Roblox, because of that stupid, idiotic, just disgusting mode. Now, see what I mean by bad weapon skin zones? AUG almost succeeds in good weapon skin zone if they had left a little bit more of it black. The standard game mode is horrible. It is the one that is always selected if there's a tie between two game modes, and standard is not voted over it. And it is the one game mode, minus gun rotation and randomizer, that forces you to use projectile weapons. And it is the one game mode, minus gun rotation, that forces you to get the knife kill. And the knife kill is the main reason why this game mode is complete and utter garbage. But gun rotation is above it still. It's not like tied. But why? Well, the thing that gun rotation does that standard doesn't do is gun rotation's actually balanced. Yes, you have the golden knife, but everyone has the same gun, hence the name gun rotation. Every player except the people that have the golden gun and knife have the same weapon. Therefore, it is impossible to complain that the game mode is completely unbalanced, and that is what's causing you to not get the knife kill. Still difficult to get the knife kill, because you basically have to get behind somebody, and that's pretty
Yeah, you
difficult to
can't
do in this game. Unless you get lucky or you're, in a bot lobby. This definitely isn't. But Standard brings a whole new meaning to the term annoying with, he's lagging.
Why you have to do him dirty like that?
Here's the present skin, by the way. It's, I don't think I need to say the word. Y'all can think of it in your head. Atrocious. But Standard is ridiculously unbalanced, and that is the main issue with the game mode. The fact that you have to get the knife kill, and you also have to deal with the projectile weapons. And if those two things didn't exist, Standard would be one of the best game modes in the game. Because there really isn't a huge issue with the game mode as a whole. The weapons that are in it, some of them could use a pretty big rework, because they're pretty unbalanced, but some of them, most of them are actually pretty good, like the trench gun, the AUG, the G36C. Guns like that, they're all great. It's just the projectile weapons and the weapons that no one really cares about, and stupid, like, element book and flamethrower and minigun, guns that no one wants in the game, guns that were even removed before, because no one wanted them in the game, and then re-added for whatever reason. As I said, if those things didn't exist, this game mode would be fantastic. Because, well, it would also replace the need for comp, unfortunately, but with the whole war of comp and standard is that no one actually knows what competitive is. I think it's a mix between the fact that Rolf never actually said what it was, and truthfully explained it, and there's no way to really view the description on game modes before you vote them. So no one really knows what it does, and the people that do know what it does, they're either on the side of people that don't care because they're too low of a rank to be good at aiming yet, and they like the knifing, or the side that always tries and votes comp when it's available because they know it's the best game mode, like objectively the best, and they want to be able to play it. But unfortunately, the side 2 is so little, and so, not even little, just overshadowed so hard and so completely by side 1 that it makes it kind of impossible to ever play competitive. I think a main way of fixing that would be to rename that game mode something other than competitive. Don't keep naming it competitive, because I think that's the main reason why people don't vote it, is because they say, oh, competitive, well, that's obviously going to be sweaty and I don't want to play that. And so no one bothers to vote it. And then the people that actually know what it is are left behind and want to vote it. See what I mean here? Randomizer is the second best game mode in the game to me. I loved Randomizer on most maps, if not all. And yet Standard gets voted so heavily above it because everyone just thinks Standard is the only thing to do. It's like the best game mode, but it's not. It's the absolute worst game mode, and no one seems to know that. And everyone that does know that, like, agrees, but at the same time they don't know why. Like, they just know Standard's bad, Standard's bad. They don't exactly know the reason why. And I've had many a time in the chat where they're like, where people are saying, well, what's the difference between competitive and standard? Why is standard the worst game mode? Why is standard worse than comp? And it's always one of those situations where you are forced to explain it, and if they listen, it's a miracle, because most people don't. Those times where people do listen, and you just converted a whole server, possibly, over to competitive, and then boom, you get to play competitive a bunch. That happens so rarely, though, it's not really worth it. It's a sad thing that competitive is never ever voted in this game anymore, because it's a genuinely good game mode, and same with Randomizer. The exact same with Randomizer. It's genuinely awful how overshadowed Standard makes everything. You also have to consider, however, the guns themselves in the game, and stupid weapons like this, the rocket launcher, or, the concussion rifle, it's in its silly glory, and how unrealistic and stupid the weapons are in this game. The minigun, which was added again because of Rolf. The community didn't want this back in the game, as far as I know. No one that I have talked to does. And the problem with that is that Rolf clearly added it back in because they wanted it back in. They didn't listen to the community. And I think that's a huge issue with a lot of Roblox developers, and a lot of developers in general, is that they just don't listen to the community. They only do what they want to do. Or they only listen to the part of the community that's going to feed them money, not the part of the community that actually is making their game grow. And it's unfortunate that a single mode in the game makes this so bad, because this game as a whole is not bad. It's fairly good. There are certain parts of it that can be extremely devastating and extremely annoying, but those are just so overshadowed by the issues from standard mode, not anything really else. See, and you can have amazing streaks like that, but then what happened? I got a sniper and I instantly get headshot by a DMR because they can fire faster. It doesn't take any effort to get dominating kills, and dominating kills, they're supposed to be like kind of a, not necessarily prestigious, but a unique thing, and they just aren't when you can get them so easily. It's like saying, it's like getting $1 million just by going to the bathroom or something. It makes that achievement seem meaningless. A dominating kill means nothing in this game because you can just get them so easily. You can just very easily pop around somebody with even a pistol and just instantly get a revenge kill on them because, you know, you got up behind them or above them or whatever. And it makes the revenge kills not worth it. It makes them feel meaningless because they're so easy to get. They should either be much harder to obtain or really, really heavily reworked and removed, if necessary. Because at this point, it's unnecessary to keep them in the game until they're changed. And look at this, this is another thing. I barely got the knife kill on him. I'm lucky that even registered because people kept shooting me. The problem with the knife, the biggest problem with the knife is that no one fights you. Everyone sees you as just a free kill. No one sees you as an enemy. No one sees you as like a threat, a legitimate person. They just see you as a unit and a number in their kill feed. That's all they want. They just kill you with the guns. They don't actually fight you. So what's the point in even trying to knife if you physically cannot, because everyone is using long-ranged weapons against you? Weapons like the flamethrower, things like this, never needed to exist. Or never needed to exist. I think it was in the game before. They never needed to exist again. And to be honest, yeah, as you get more skilled and you get warmed up and everything, your opinions on things can change pretty heavily. Like, I hate using the flamethrower or DMRs and stuff when I'm not warmed up because I can't aim. I suck at aiming. And I can't, I can't flick, I can't do anything, so semi-auto weapons are my downfall. But once I get warmed up and stop switching my knife too late, it's not the worst thing. I don't think DMRs and, weapons like that are actually a bad thing. However, it's the clearly unbalanced weapons like the rocket launcher, the crossbow, most of the pistols at any range but close. These stupid things at like any range. It just feels unnecessary, you know? You have to also note how unrealistic the guns in the game are, because you have guns like this, which I don't even know if this thing exists. It just makes no sense whatsoever. And it has such ridiculous spread, unless you get headshots, which quadruple, if not quintuple, the amount of damage you do per one pellet. It's kind of an annoying and unnecessary weapon. And it doesn't make sense to how a shotgun is supposed to be in real life. Like things like the crossbow. The crossbows are actually more powerful than guns. If you didn't know, crossbows are more powerful than guns because that's their purpose. They're supposed to be silent and they're supposed to be very, very powerful. Now, I'm not saying a crossbow can shoot through a solid block of titanium and a 50 cal can't, but nothing can. But
sorry. I forgot to turn my voice.
Crossbows will shoot through more and do more damage than a pistol, for example, or an AR. They just will. It's their purpose. So having a weapon like the crossbow do no damage until you get really far distance, which isn't how that works at all, or, until you hit a headshot, which it just doesn't make sense. It's not balanced to any of the other guns in the game, like the golden gun, which can literally one-tap at all ranges anywhere on the body. Once you run out of ammo, you cannot walk over ammo and get that gun back. So if you run out of ammo and say the golden gun, you can't walk over ammo and get the golden gun back full ammo. It's very annoying. You can also pick up ammo for the knife. I don't exactly know why that's a thing.
That you're gonna win this game if you use star code Bandites.
Bandites, stop promoting yourself in my videos. Let's see if we can bring home a win, eh? That's why the trench gun is the best gun in the game. It's a shotgun that just did 130 damage at what, like 100 plus studs? Genuinely crazy. It's such a good gun. Either make it so that the knife one taps everywhere on the body and you're immortal to gunfire when you have it, or remove the knife in standard and all projectile weapons. That is the only two options to fix this game at this point.